Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video, we're going to break down the complete guide to the Universal Orlando Single Rider line. And if you've been watching our tips and tricks video, you've probably seen us talk about the Universal Orlando Single Rider line a couple of times, and that is because if used the right way, it definitely can help you save a lot of time by avoiding some of the longer lines in the theme parks. And that's why we decided to create this video. So if you are in the process of planning a Universal Orlando trip and you do need a little additional help, just be sure to stick around until the end of this video. As always, I'm very excited, so let's go get started. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video. Like I said, we are about to break down everything that you need to know about the Universal Orlando Single Rider line. And just in general, if you are traveling with, older teenagers, or if you're traveling with some guests who like to go onto a lot of the thrill rides, some guests who do not want to go on any of the thrill rides, this is going to be the video for you, just because that's really where we see the benefit of using the Single Rider line. But let's start with the basics, and that is, what is the Universal Orlando Single Rider line? And very simply, it's a separate queue that allows individual guests to take advantage of a sometimes quote-unquote shorter line and be seated with other families of odd numbers on rides. Again, like we said, it's a fantastic way to save time, especially if you're okay riding alone. And that's very important, and brings us to the next point of this video, and that is, who is the Single Rider line for? And then we quickly touched base on this, but just like it sounds, it's perfect for adults visiting Universal Orlando who are okay with riding each of the Single Rider attractions alone. And again, in my honest opinion, it's also a great option for families with teenagers who want to go onto some of those thrill rides and roller coasters, but some guests might want to skip them and kind of just hang back. So be sure to keep an eye out for the Single Rider lines, and that brings us to our next point, and that is which Universal Orlando rides have a Single Rider line. And in total, there are 15 Universal Orlando Single Rider lines. However, it is important for me to note that Universal does not always have the Single Rider lines open. It really depends on the day and depends on the ride. So be sure to just keep that in mind, as you're going about your day. But in general, here are the rides that Universal will typically have a single rider going for, at some point throughout the year, right? So we're going to start over at Universal Studios Florida, and the single rider lines are going to be Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, Fast and the Furious Supercharged, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, Men in Black Alien Attack, Revenge of the Mummy, and Transformers The Ride 3D. Moving over to Islands of Adventure, we do have The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, Dr. Doom's Fearful, Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, The Incredible Hulk Coaster, Jurassic Park River Adventure, Jurassic World Velocicoaster, and Skull Island Reign of Kong. Now we're going to start to jump into the little tips and tricks, and another really important question that we get is, what is the best single rider line to use, essentially? And in general, just like you can imagine, the rides with the longest average wait times tend to be the best ones to use the single rider lines. Now, the three most important rides that come to mind are going to be Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, The Incredible Hulk Coaster, the Velocicoaster, and I'll even throw in one over at Universal Studios Florida for a little bonus tip, and that is Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. And so this does bring us to our next question, and that is, should I use the single rider line, or should I upgrade and get the Universal Express Pass? Now, this is, again, another very popular question, and just really because of how expensive the Universal Express Pass is, and the fact that the Universal Single Rider line is essentially free. But I do believe that the really important thing to keep in mind here is that the Universal Single Rider line does not guarantee that you'll have a shorter wait time, and essentially the Universal Express Pass does. So they are just two different things, right? And it's also important to keep in mind is everyone trying to go onto all of the most popular rides. So I would say for that reason, if that is your goal, if everyone's trying to go onto the most popular rides and you're trying to avoid long wait times, then yes, I would say consider looking at the Universal Express Pass. If there's one or two rides, and again, you're one teenager wants to go on to Hagrid's or the Velocicoaster, then of course, yes, their Express Pass might not be the best fit for you. But that is the biggest differences between them. And of course, another very popular question we get, and we've kind of answered this already, but of course, sometimes you're watching videos, it might be in the background and you kind of doze off. Does Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure have a single rider line? And yes, Hagrid's does have a single rider line. However, it is not always guaranteed that it will be open. And as you'll see, we're about to discuss some tips and tricks to help you get onto Hagrid's Magical Creatures a little bit quicker, even if you don't use a single rider line. So let's jump into the tips and tricks right now. And again, starting with number one, remember it's not always guaranteed that the single rider lines will be open for your ride. And number two, just reminding everyone watching at home, it's important to note that you will be seated alone, with other guests. So again, if you're traveling with young kids, the single rider line might not be the best fit for you. Covering our basics just a little bit more, if you are looking to save as much time as possible, the Universal Express Pass might be the good fit. And if you are looking to save as much time as possible, specifically on two rides, which are Hagrid's Magical Creatures and the Velocicoaster, you might want to consider showing up for early park admission. And this will really allow you to get onto these rides as quickly as possible, and it will allow your entire group to get onto the ride together. So if you've been watching our videos, again, you already know that here at the Park Prodigy, we love early park admission. We have a ton of free, vacation planning resources kind of based around getting the most out of your day. And early park admission is such a big part of that just because of how well it works. If you really, really do get up as early as possible and get over to the parks, you will save a tremendous amount of time, which I believe is really the main point of why everyone's, considering the single rider lines or, doing their research and putting those park plans together. So that is it, everyone. That is the complete guide to the Universal Orlando single rider line. If you are in the process of planning a Universal Orlando trip and you did find this video helpful, just be sure to subscribe to our channel, as we do have a lot more videos just like this coming out in the coming weeks. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.